Hi guys, so welcome back to the Psychic Sleuth channel. So today I'm going to be going over Dulce Alavez astrology. I do have to warn you that viewer discretion is advised on this. There's some things I'm going to try to be as gentle as possible. Now keep in mind, I am not an astrologer. I am just repeating what my astrology friend is helping me with. I am learning as I go along. We are collabing. She's anonymous in this, but she does all the work. I'm just repeating what she tells me. So I want to give her credit for doing this work and helping me out. She listens to the readings and tries to follow, what's being said. I'm also going to pull some probably cards at the end of this just for location cards. I don't really need to pull anything else. I've done several readings on Dulce. It's always all over the place. I've been over the map a million times, and now I understand why. This case is very, very, very confusing. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of energy involved. There might be a lot of places involved. That's why I'm all over the place. This is involving a ring, according to her astrology chart, allegedly. So keep in mind that this is for entertainment purposes only. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty. This is just forensic astrology, which you cannot change your astrology. Your astrology is part of your blueprint when you were born. There's even a little bit in here about her birth chart, because we were able to get her birth time and stuff, so we did find out some things. So I am going to do my best to explain this to you. I hope that I explain it right, but do keep in mind I am learning. I may get things wrong, but I did write things down. Hopefully I can read my chicken scratch. And she took the time to go over everything with me. This is how I learn. I'm learning as I go. So again, I am wanting to take all the tools necessary to give you the most information on a case. As a psychic medium, we can only give you so much. We are only humans connecting to another vibration. It's really hard to pinpoint areas, especially when there's a lot of things involved, a lot of energies involved. But I noticed that the area I kept going to is relevant to him in the forensic astrology chart. So forensic astrology is known to be very accurate. Again, it is basically based on your astrology. It cannot be changed. So the fact that it also aligns with most of my readings is very significant as well. So I'm trying to take the readings, the astrology, the cards, all the tools in all these cases and combine them to give you a more accurate picture. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like you. You're just not channeling anymore." I'm sorry, but I can't get all the information I need on just channeling. I'm just a human. I'm only going to get what I'm supposed to get. The astrology gives you more clues and validates the reading, and the cards give you more clues and validates the readings. So I'm using all these tools together because Spirit said so in order to give us a bigger picture. And I might get things in the cards I don't get in my readings. I might get things in astrology I don't get in any of it. So this kind of brings it all together, ties it up, and lets you know kind of more exactly what's involved and what happened, where readings can be a little more confusing because of the spirit you're connecting to might not know where they are. In this instance, I'm not sure Dulce knows where she is. I might need to connect to make sure she's crossed, because I think she was alive for some point. And that's why I was back and forth and if she was alive or not. And then when I felt the pain in my head, when I went back in to do the last reading channeling that I did, then I knew she was deceased. And unfortunately, her chart also says it as well. I never say that, but her chart is speaking that, unfortunately. But I think she may have been alive for a little bit of time. But as we were doing this, my friend has a spirit talker on and it said, like, "Where's my body?" So she might not know exactly where she is. We're going to do the best that we can to try to pinpoint areas. Now, remember, everything has timing. So when it comes to Dulce's astrology, she had like 4 planets in retrograde at the time. So it's like really slow moving. But I always get pulled back to cases in time. Her birthday's next week. And also, like, her nodes just switched, which means that something might be taking off. And I'm going to explain that in just a minute. So I may kind of switch around. I may kind of go back and forth. Just focus on the words that I'm saying. Don't really focus so much on the degrees or what I'm saying it's in. I'm just saying that for astrologist people and because it's important, but focus on the words of what they mean. Like what I'm saying that the degrees mean, what I'm saying that the lines mean. Okay? Because that's what we want to focus on. This is the story. Astrology is the story. It's the story of the crime. It's the story of the perpetrator. It's the story of where they may be. You cannot change your astrology. It is aligned with your blueprint. It is fated events. This is something that you cannot change. Okay. So I'm going to do the best that I can to try to explain this. Again, this is only forensic astrology. It's not fact. I have to say that. But bear with me as I learn this and I go through this. Please be understanding. Please know that this is all a learning curve for me, and I'm just trying to be the voice for the voiceless and put as much information with as many tools as I can out there. Because look, when we combine the tools, we get a bigger picture. We get more information, more than I just can as a human, and that's why I'm doing it. Spirit's calling me to. So it's going to take me a while to be able to do this on my own, so I have the help with my friend until then. Bless her for dealing with me, doing all this work. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. I mean, I get tired just going over it. So I really appreciate her, and I really am going to have to start donating to her because she's spending a lot of time helping me with this. But she's very happy to help because she's being pushed to do this as well. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull up her map. Okay, so we got her map pulled up here. Now, I might go a little bit back and forth because as she was doing this, like, other things would come up. So just try to, again, just pay attention to what I'm talking about and how I'm explaining it and all of that. Because the information is what's important. People that don't know astrology don't really need to know the degrees and whatnot. Like, you don't need to, like, understand that. You just need to know. That's how we come up with the information. But you just need to know what the information is, okay? So, actually, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and the outer planets, I think it was also Uranus. I'm sure it'll come up again. They were all in retrograde. So that does mean delays and different things. So that's why everything's been slow going. That's why it's been delays, all of that stuff. So we're thinking that the North Node may be significant in this, but I'll get more into that in just a minute. So this little girl, she's a Taurus with a Pisces moon. And we didn't go over what the rest of it was because we did just look a little bit at her birth chart, which can bring a little bit more information. We didn't really go into depths into that. So about 8 to 9 years, nodes are reversed. Cases from 2005 to 2006 and 2013 or 2014 are coming back up again. So there can be some type of movement during this time, and that's interesting as to why this has kind of come up again. So what we notice is the Riggins nursery. I wonder if I remove me. Nope. Better. Maybe that's better. I'm having a lot of issues with Google Earth today for some reason. Damn Mercury retrograde. All right. So as you can see, Riggins nursery is really close to her ascendant line. So the ascendant does rule our victim. It's going to be places that she's familiar with or places that maybe she knew about or went to. Riggins nursery is there, which she used to go with her grandparents. That's it. 24 degrees Capricorn. So it's interesting because it's between the Saturn and the ascendant. Saturn can rule elderly or grandparents. So she did go there with her grandparents. And our ascendant is the victim. Saturn was also in retrograde, and it was conjunct the North Node in the first house. So close to the ascendant. So past life karma is playing out in a public way. Saturn could mean mom or grandparents knew him. With the South Node, it's in the first house. It's something we want to move on from. In a crime chart, it's a confusing situation. So again, why the readings have been all over the place. It's just now this makes sense as to why everything's all over the place because it's very confusing. It's basically generational trauma that's coming up and that's keeping the family blocked. So South and North Node are fated points, and so the family may be having a hard time rationalizing or accepting this. So mom could have possibly known, as Dulce showing up as Capricorn. So this is a position of making money. All right. So there's lots of 13 degrees in Aries. So there's certain of level of violence and brutality here, to that degree in general. So we have the Saturn in South Node. It's a karmic debt to pay in this lifetime. So generational thing, maybe past lives connected. When one node is conjunct a major planet like Saturn, then it's heavier than just a regular kidnapping. All right. So Black Moon Lilith is in the third house, which also represents a vehicle. and it's across from the 9th house, which represents a foreign man. Okay. It's at the 18th degree, which is the evil degree. So its opposition speaks I'm having a hard time reading my chicken scratch. Anyways, it's at 18 degree and is the evil degree, so the man's an evil guy. Okay. And he's a foreign man, so probably an undocumented person, definitely Mexican. The ascendant is 24 degree Capricorn. So again, Capricorn is one of the oldest signs in zodiac. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's this one right here. Maybe Dulce was believing that she was at the park for a different reason than what she was, and she was at a vulnerable state. So this could be, and this is all alleged, that mom was paying off drugs or money, or Dulce was drugged, or there could be an unaware and confused, or drugs could be involved in some way, shape, or form. It's a position of responsibility for Dulce being in the Capricorn. So drugs or illusion, and Capricorn is also a mature degree, so maybe she was seen to be more mature than she actually was. And she was not aware of what was going on, and it actually again goes by the nursery. Okay. So we have Pluto. It was retrograde in 20 degrees Capricorn. Pluto rules destruction, death. It can rule bodies as well. And it could be a point of interest. So 20 degrees of Capricorn is a Scorpio degree. The intensity of Pluto, even more intense, meticulous, and sexual depravity. In this case, Capricorn rules older people, so people in authority. Maybe the guy was running a ring or is high ranking in it. Anything that Scorpio can be more taboo or sexually. So this is looking like a ring or sex trafficking, something like that. All right. So Pluto exerts the most influence over this. A lot of destructive power. And again, 20 degrees Capricorn would kind of talk about a pedo ring or messed up stuff having to do with authority, taboos, and sexuality. So there could be some people on this line that are associated with, on this Pluto line, that are associated with this ring. So this timestamp on this and when this happened possibly indicates that she was not unalived right away, but it was inevitable where the moon is in this chart. And also how her birth chart goes into play, and I'll go into that. So mom is connected in some way, even if it's through negligence. So it's an evil dude. Like, this guy's an evil dude. Lots of destruction, possibly dark web stuff, and large scale sexuality, brutality. Okay. We have Black Moon Lilith in 15 degrees Pisces. So mom and drugs or medicated, and it's also a Gemini degree. So that can rule communication with somebody. It's opposing Mars. So it could be some kind of communication with this person. So his Gemini rules communication, and also like a double life. It's even maybe she had a evil side when she was on drugs or drinking, and this is all alleged. Gemini, you can be two people again, or double life. Like they are two different people, like two sides. Okay. In this instance, maybe she partied too hard and had negligence. Okay, so sorry, I stopped for a second. So party too hard and negligent. Like maybe she didn't really want the burden. Like maybe she looked another way. It doesn't seem like she's completely like she planned it or anything, but it's more like through negligence. Maybe not set up, but just, maybe she's not the one that set it up, but in a way, like she knew the person and she was negligent in some way, shape, or form with whatever was going on with the life, with taking her and leaving her like by herself, but she's just not stable. She's not coming across as stable in the chart, allegedly. The third house also rules vehicle, it rules parks. Mom sometimes just be under restraint, like consent, maybe be understrained in her sexual self. Black Moon Lilith is like a context of a whole chart, so mom may be involved in prostitution or camming. Not saying that's for sure thing, but it's something that can depict in this chart. And the moon, so when we look at the moon, I think I'm pretty sure the descends that, yeah, okay, I wrote that wrong. All right. So, descendant. So the Cancer, or I mean, the moon is actually 22 degrees Aries, which is also a Cancer degree. And that's the kill or be killed. And a moon can represent a child under 5. It can also represent the mother. And when you look at the descendant, which rules are perpetrator, it's at 24-degree Cancer, which again rules mothers. So if you kind of look at the descendant and then you're like, so Cancer is usually family as well. So more than likely the perpetrator is someone who has a neighborly personality or is in the family or connected to them in some way. Responsible, and then the mom is, or the family is kind of responsible through negligence, allegedly, and mom wasn't basically on the ball in this situation. So we have, oh, we didn't go over that one. Yeah, we did go over the Chiron line. My bad. It looks like we went over Neptune first, though. So Neptune line, Neptune was also in retrograde. That's an outer planet. Again, so there's delay here. But it's at the 17 degree of Pisces. So it's a fame degree. Meaning that at some point this will be famous, whether when it breaks or, it took up a little bit of steam for a while, then it kind of went dead, and now it's possible when things break again, like it'll be like something really big and kind of famous, like it'll be short-lived, but it'll come out. Or like medium-lived, because there's like 5, 17, and 29, I think. So 29 is long-lived fame, like 17 is like kind of like medium, and then 5 is like short. So or shorter. So this is at 17 degrees. So there's also, it's below so all the lower planets are like things that are like secret, like and all these are like kind of things that are out there from my understanding. But so Neptune, it's like secrets, it's shocking stuff. It's below the horizon, so secret stuff. This is all secret stuff. Well, depending on the degrees, but this one specifically, Neptune in 17 degrees Pisces, is below the horizon, so it's secret stuff. So there's secret, shocking stuff. So it probably suggests videos and footage. It more than likely will be some kind of trail, like on the dark web somewhere. Like maybe she's probably put on the dark web somewhere. Another possibility, it could be sold, the person sold drugs. They may have been into both things, but it really suggests videos and things like that on the dark web. But it is a 17 degrees is sometimes a popular dealer. So also the Neptune. Oh no, that's not the church. So that's the wrong church. Or that. All right, so we have the Chiron line. 4 degrees Aries. It's also a Cancer degree. It's brutality to female organs. So, and also head trauma. It's the early degree of Aquarius, so it rules female parts, sexual assault. Okay. Like I said, this is viewer discretion advised. This is very bad. We have the moon again at 22 degrees Aries, and we kind of went over that a little bit earlier. It's at the kill or be killed degree. So mom could possibly be violent or viewed this as like a do or die situation, allegedly. It does go through the Cumberland courthouse, so that's kind of interesting. This would also indicate death by head trauma. Mom is complacent in some way because the descendant is Cancer, the ruler is moon. So this is the moon line. So the Cancer rules the moon, and that's where the descendant line is, if that makes sense. So we have the descendant, it's ruled by Cancer, which is Cancer, so it's ruled by the moon. So when we look at the moon line, and the moon is mom. Mom or child or her. So if that makes sense. So it suggests that mom is ruled by the moon, so up to some stuff, maybe trading her off without realizing it. Sometimes you see this in charts of accidental, like manslaughter, connected, like something that's connected to her actions in some way. And it also means that she was more than likely deceased, or that it was headed that way, with this kill or be killed degree. So she may have been more complacent, like not realizing that she's put people in her life to, she possibly owed a debt, and this was like the payoff, but not that she really set it up. But it's like, again, sometimes you see this in charts where like things are accidental, but it's connected to her in some way. So the person is connected to her. And also it was fated to end this way because we have the moon was already at 22 degrees at the time of the stamp. So there's nothing that could have changed this. Unfortunately, this fate, like she couldn't have been saved or anything like that. Like there's some kind of fated, this is all like bigger than we are. There's some kind of generational lessons that need to be learned here through past lives. So, but it's also in her birth chart, and I'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, this was fated to end this way, unfortunately. So that's why sometimes I think like I said, I feel like she was alive for a certain point, and then she wasn't. When I got that head pain, that told me, and then now it's saying more than likely head trauma here. It makes sense. So we also have the Uranus was retrograde at 6 degrees Taurus. So this has to do with text messages. They might be too old to like recover because it's in retrograde. So there might be issues with technology, issues with recovering evidence. Uranus also like rules electricity. So this actually goes through a power plant. It's in a Virgo degree. So it relates to text messages. They might be really hard to cover again. There's a lot working against her in this case because of all the retrograde planets, unfortunately. And so we have the IC degree at 17 degrees Taurus. Ooh, weird bug. Again, this is a fame degree. The people that are looking for her are hardcore. Like they're not going to stop because Taurus rules community. So the community is hardcore in trying to find out what happened to her. They don't want to give up. It's in the fourth house of home, but also this rules farmland. So in the MC, her midheaven being Scorpio means it's a horrific sex crime is what people see, but they're looking in the wrong places. They need to be looking in farmland, like or near farms. So also people have an idea. The public is more focused on conspiracy and trafficking instead of who lives around here. Sex crimes case will be known and remembered for that. Pluto, where it is, has means a lot of people could be exposed or at some point or another. She had an important life path because her south node is on the ascendant, so there's some importance to the story and weight to it. So we may not even understand it right now, but a lot of people probably watched on the dark web. And their north node is the next thing we're going to talk about. So actually she has a lot of planets in the 3rd and 4th house, which means that that's community. So she could is probably more than likely is closer instead of further away. So we have our north node in Cancer, 13 degrees Cancer. It actually hits the hospital she was born. If you extend it, that's what this little dot is right here. It's the hospital she was born, so that's kind of crazy. If you see all the lines go to significant areas. So this would indicate that someone was family or close enough to be family or close to the family. That's who's involved. There was someone that was let into the circle. So it's important to know that, because that was stated in the reading. Just saying, this is somebody that was brought into her life in some way, shape, or form. She knew him, she met him, they saw him, they know the family. So somehow, some way, there's some sort of connection there. Also, the descendant line in Mars. So this line right here, and Mars over here, that's in between those lines is his stomping ground, because we have the descendant ruling the perpetrator. Mars is also ruling the male. So this is all his stomping ground right here. And actually the church that that Dulce and her family went to is in this area. So more than likely he went to church with them, because that comes in this chart too. So when your north node is on an ascendant or descendant, that means that the stuff is related to fate, life path, what was being activated in her birth chart. Really, like, we're gonna go into that in a minute as soon as I get to it. I'm going like in order of what I took notes from, and we did jump around a little bit, but we're getting to, hopefully you can understand. So our descendant again is at 24 degrees Cancer, so it's family or connected. They know him, and the mother connects to him somehow, even if by accident. What's interesting is, I believe in the card reading, if you guys check that, it's pretty accurate. I'm pretty sure my cards have been very accurate. Even if I don't perceive it right, the cards are right. I got something about dating someone connected to the victim. So maybe an old boyfriend or something like that. But this is, the mother connects somehow, even if it's by accident. So kind of like we have the situation with Audrey and Madeline. All right. The people that were surrounding them were brought into their life. That's this kind of similar situation. You know, we had Audrey, that guy was brought into her life. She'd be fine if he wasn't brought into her life. Then we have Madeline's stepfather brought into her life. If he wasn't brought into her life, you know. So it's that kind of similar energy, like somebody that was brought into her life, or that she met through family, in close to family, relation to family. Okay. But so they were surrounding her with bad people, or someone was surrounding her with bad people. So who was around her? Okay, so we have Mars at 18 degrees Virgo. All right, so this is a smooth talker. It's not someone you would expect. We have, it's in Virgo, so it's someone that works with their hands or are earthy in a way. So may have odd jobs, could like work a farm, you know, could do gardening, could do anything with his hands, which a lot of migrant workers and stuff, that's what they do. So he's fairly smart, but he's very brutal. So he's earthy in general. He's also meticulous, and he can talk his way out of anything, and he's a good liar. So again, he could be a farmer, do handyman work, do like anything with his hands, or earthy work. Mars rules violence, so he's got sexual aggression. So the part in her birth chart that I was going to talk about, this definitely is pointing to the fact that she's deceased now, because, and that's how it was going to end, because the Saturn North Node conjunct exact natal Pluto in their 8th house of death. The moon was 17 degrees Pisces. conjunct Neptune. So a lot of misinformation and confusion in this case. A lot of stuff in the 10th house may eventually come out. So stuff may eventually come out regarding this. And her Saturn is about to hit Chiron and her moon. So that could be a discovery or closure of some sort. Just saying that might be why this is coming back up and I'm being pulled to it and all of that. Okay. Everything has timing, remember. So we have the sun at 23-degree Virgo. It's Aquarius degree. It leads, so the sun can also rule the perp as well. And what's interesting is it goes up to Elmer, which I think came in the reading. Like a lot came in the reading, and that's because there could be multiple people as far as like, you know, the ring and all that kind of stuff. Like he could be kind of transient living if he's like migrant. He could go in all different places. So that's why it could be pulled in different areas. But okay, so because it's an Aquarius, you know, Aquarius is technology. So it can be skills with computer. If he's putting stuff on the dark web, he knows how to leave no traces. So he may have skills with computer. He may be smarter than people give him credit for because he's a Virgo also. So he's smart. He knows how to cover his tracks. And again, communication on the dark web, more than likely, or smart with technology or computer, something like that. Okay. And also the sun is potentially ruling the life of vitality. And sometimes that can rule a body too. I know it was close in Dylan's chart, but that is like also life and vitality, but it also rules like a father figure, or a male, I should say. So this could rule our perp as well as the Mars and the descendant. Also, again, there's a lot of 3rd and 4th house, which is community. So there's lots of planets there. So she's probably closer than she is further. But the 9th house relates to someone that's foreign. It's not coming across that she's in water on this. And I think she might have went missing. And I'm gonna have to look when she went missing. I think it was like I mean, she went missing September 16th, so that's Virgo season, so it's more likely earthy too. But there's you know some Virgo in her chart, so again farmland could be around her, and woods as well because Taurus can be wooded or farmland, so she could be a wooded area by farmland. All right, so we have. Oh, because it wouldn't even let me click it because it's so close together. Hold on. I have to zoom in on this. So we have like the Mercury and Venus are like really only like 2 degrees off. So we have the Mercury and Venus 2 degrees off. So Venus rules like a young woman. Okay. And it's 2 degrees Libra is the Venus in this chart. So it's a vain woman. It's on a Taurus degree, so maybe motivated by money. Maybe pretty vain, selfish, superficial, like not paying, like apathetic, like not really empathetic. Not paying attention. She's interested in herself. She's selfish, and you know the Saturn would rule more of the grandparents. So this child was born to break some generational trauma. She had a heavy burden. She chose a heavy life soul path, and this was all fated, unfortunately, to end up the way that it did. There's going to be something come out of it. Usually there is with things like this. Then we have Mercury that's like I said, is 2 degrees off at 4 degrees Libra. It's a Cancer degree. So Mother Mercury close to Venus could indicate coming off pretty well to the press, like the mother. She gives a certain like elegance and quality and communication because Venus is beauty and Mercury is communication. So she's bringing like she comes off well to the public. She got attention that she was looking for because it's at the highest part. It's not all good though, like not all good talk about her. And she was also probably the prime person that people were looking at, and the focal point was mom. And so she kind of enjoyed the attention and sympathy, you know, and a lot of attention on that. So the MC or the midheaven is 17 degrees Scorpio. So again, a fame case. This is the third time. So this might be something when it breaks, it might end up being pretty big because there's 17 degrees in this, but this is 17-degree Scorpio. It's a fame case at some time. So it'll be well known at some point. It's known for associations with taboo things, though, like sex trafficking and mystery. Because of the IC and community people, maybe some type of movement. And so it's interesting that it's come back at the node reversal. And also, I forgot to mention that Mars is in the 9th house, so it's a religious foreigner. So somebody that possibly had something to do with the church, and again, maybe knew Dulce from the church, because the church literally falls in between the descendant and the Mars line. So just saying. And that came in the reading as well. So we have Jupiter in 16 degrees Sagittarius. It's also a Cancer degree. It's not retrograde. So it's a lucky placement for once, something good in her chart, 'cause she's got a lot of retrograde crap. So it's some kind of hope in this cluster F of a chart. And that is a literal quote. Jupiter is in a good place in this. Again, a family member may talk. With Mercury and Green Venus, it could be the mom possibly, but it's in a good position. It could be something that comes out of this eventually, maybe by family. There's an emphasis on religion is important. So the 12th house of luck is related to hospitals and jails as well. But religion, because let me tell you, the church came in a lot. So anything in between Mars and the descendant is going to be, so this is the Mars line right here. And this is the descendant line. So that's going to be his stomping grounds in there, because that's our perpetrator. It seems like the upper right is the most important in relation to him. And again, because the outer planets were retrograde, this is very slow moving. So again, the church that they went to with Dulce is in between those areas. So my guess is that he's been to that church, that he's local, that he knows the family, that they've met him, that he's been in their life. I mean, we got that. I really think the mom knows who he is, and maybe she's not talking because she doesn't want to be implicated, because this is related to a ring. This is related to, what's interesting is this Rancho Three Cabritos came in the reading. It's literally right there. So we were kind of focusing on the North Node after going through the readings, because and here's Cumberland County. The Cumberland is interconnecting again. This is where I first got it. Because literally this is where she was born, this hospital. And the very last time I channeled her, I was getting the hospital. So it's kind of interesting. And I mean, there's a road right here. So this would be an area of interest that we might want to look at on the North Node, just because it matches a lot. I mean, any of these lines can be areas of interest, but also, this area right here between the descendant, and especially on the descendant. And I'd be curious if maybe, because like these can extend like indefinitely, like he could be from somewhere over here, or depending on where they extend out of country. But basically between, like, here's the church right here. So it's literally between his it's in his stomping grounds. Like the descendant and Mars is gonna rule and the sun is all gonna rule our perpetrator. So but definitely, being at 24 degrees Cancer rules the family. So he's connected to the family, in the family, or like family. Has to be. He's somebody that they know. I don't know why they're not recognizing it. Unless like the sketch isn't completely right or something, or he's connected to somebody in the family. There's one name that specifically keeps popping up in the readings, and I'm just wondering if he's connected to that person. But there's somebody that definitely knew. And all in here would be the stomping grounds. So it's just interesting. So Union Lake, this area might be a good place to look. It doesn't come across as she's very far, because of like the community. So, I mean, thing that's hard to find in a crime chart is what lines are you going to follow. So that's why I'm like, you need to, the lines are important, along with the readings because you're going to mix it all together. It's energy center. I think that came in the reading. So much came in the reading, like I can't even tell you. Like, and he could put her somewhere in his stomping grounds, I mean, up here, like he could work up here, he could be up here. He more than likely is kind of like a migrant like worker. He might move around from farm to farm. That's possible. So it would be a farm that's connected to him. I mean, his Mars line goes as Parvian State Park. But it doesn't, like, she says it's mostly where it ends. But I mean, it can go through relevant places, like where evidence is too, or places that they knew. I mean, there's also a hospital here in Elmer. I mean, Elburn came in. This is interesting. It goes that far. She said the Mars and this could be important to mom, where the Venus and the Mercury goes, because I think it goes through like sunset or something like that. I mean, this doesn't put her as like, here's the nursery. Like the nursery's really close. And I probably have said that word wrong. Like, I get so tired on these maps. It's crazy. But so we're looking in farmland, maybe surrounded by trees. So what I'm going to do now, even though I'm exhausted just from being on here, is I'm going to pull some just location cards and see what pops up. Okay, so I used my people cards for the first time, and they're pretty freaking accurate. Now, these cards you have to use, it's all on how you perceive them. You have to kind of, go with your intuition on what they could mean. They're not going to always be literal, because you have to use them depending on, what the perp you're talking about. And they basically validate the readings. They tend to validate the the freaking astrology chart we just talked about. So, all right, so first of all, we have a genius. So somebody that's really smart, he's smarter than he's given credit for, which just came in the astrology chart. So this is someone that might have like exceptional ability. Also, again, the whole thing with Aquarius and being good with computers, he might have an innovative mind and intellect. So I find that interesting because it came in the astrology chart. There's someone that's like super smart, but you might not realize how smart he really is. So somebody that's an architect, he may have designed this whole plan. He may design the whole thing that they do on the dark web. Like he's the one that is the supervisor, like came in the chart, an authority figure. Also there's construction here. So, I mean, he works with his hands. Who knows? He might be building. He might be like a builder of some sort. But really, I mean, a lot of like the migrants, they do all different kinds of things. But really, this is like planning, like supervision. Okay. Because we have blacksmiths. So that's someone that's like works with their hands in some way, shape, or form. You can take it that way. But we have aesthetic. So it's almost like he tries to seek self-restraint and have discipline, but he doesn't. But that's like how he might portray himself, because really he's a player. So here we go. I said he could be charming, a smooth talker, someone you wouldn't you wouldn't know about. So socialite of charm, elegance, expert of romance. Okay. And he's also a friend. He's connected. He is a friend of them, a keeper of trust, a companion, someone that you would not expect, but that's, but he also may be a father. He may connect to a father, but he may be, again, family. We said he was family, connected to the family, close enough to be like family, someone that may present as a father figure or a guardian or a parental authority, or he may have kids. I don't know if he has kids himself. I can't remember if I ever pulled that before. But he could possibly at some point or another. It doesn't mean he's with them. If he's a migrant, he might, like, his family might be somewhere else, but definitely, or he is portrayed as someone that is like that. Again, family. This would be family too, because it comes up as not just the father, but also family. Okay. So we have a knight. So someone that has a keeper of what they're doing, employee. So he might have been an employee of them at some time. Maybe he was a handyman. Maybe he worked for them at some point. Athlete means that he's very strong. He exercises. He's probably in shape. I pulled the child card, and I think this just relates to Dulce. You know, he takes away their innocence. Like, he's a boss, which came in, authoritative figure, someone that's a boss of something, maybe boss of a pedal ring, maybe the boss of something like that, but he's a leader. And we've got the gang card. If he's involved in a pedal ring, he's involved with the gang. We have the Brotherhood of Shadows, underworld, transactions, violence, and criminality. So he's probably involved in a lot of that stuff, and he is very violent. He's very, very bad. He's got the 18, like, evil degree. He's bad. This is totally him right here. Spy. So again, it's interesting because they show him on a computer. So he may be, on the dark web, spying on other kids. He's covert. He's smart. He flies under the radar. Espionage, undercover. Like, he's an undercover dude because apparently no one in the family knows that he's responsible, and no one has ever, like, recognized him. So he's, like, good at being covert and undercover, and he's the seeker of secrets. He might spy without anybody knowing. Like, he could have watched Dulce from afar, or even been in the family and watched her, and no one knew that's what he was doing. So again, he's also a magician. So he's a channeler of power, magic, illusion. That's exactly what's happening and what has happened. Like, he literally took her and no one really saw much. So that's something that a magician would do. I'm wondering, this guide came in, like, navigator, progress, direction. Like, this might just be, like, he could be like, this is a foreign guy in the picture. So who knows? Maybe he knows his way around. That could be that. I mean, he might be really good at, like, art or of some form. I don't really understand that one. He's a hunter. He's a hunter of kids, probably. Strategy, survival, pursuit, stalker of prey, and that could be, little girls, unfortunately. The security guard came in. That's interesting because it could just be, like, person of authority, like, I'm in charge of stuff. Like, that came in the reading. I mean, that came in the astrology chart. And then we have clergy. So again, religion came in. I think he really went to that church. Religion. And how many times did I pick up a church? Like, multiple times in the readings. Religion, morality. Or he doesn't have morality, but religion. Just saying. And he could be a fake person that just goes to church, but he might have known them through the church, or he's connected to the church. It does depict religion in the chart as someone that, is Catholic or in the church of some sort. Okay, now we're gonna go through the first round of location cards. So we have desert. I can always take that as just a sandy area. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a desert, like sandy area that is around there. Mountains, that can be, like, in the distance. That can be an area that's higher up. That can be little mountains, not flat. Okay, we have water. We have water supply. All right, so these are things that can be around the area, on the way to the area. It's not always directly in the area, so keep that in mind. So we have water supply. We have power supply. I think that came in the readings. So this could be near either power supply place or along the road where they have these. Motel, hotel came in. There could be a landfill or somewhere that's like a landfill, somewhere, that's like similar to it. And we have home. That could be her home or that could be his home. And neighborhood. This is good, like, around either her neighborhood or his neighborhood, depending on where he lives. But it's home. It could be close to home because we have that third and fourth house of being like community and stuff. So, like there's water, but she's not in water, but there could be water in the area. And I always pull the portal card when like there's no sign of anybody. It's almost like she slipped through a portal, right? So that's kind of how it comes across. Wooded area. That's also in the astrology chart. Inside, so it's interesting. Inside wooded area. Hollow earth. Interesting. The church. There might be a church close to where she is because I've seen that a million times in her reading. And if he was into the church, I'd be wondering if it's not close to the church that maybe he went to, which I would maybe think that it's somewhere that Dulce went. In road, that came in. I always hear cards. So she could be near a road of some sort. And the river too could be nearby or flow through. But we have the burial card. He's more likely buried or covered and underground. Okay. Then we have proper burial again. Vehicle. She was taken in a vehicle. It maybe been cold at some point. Dumped. Home. That could be his home, her home. I wondered if like he has like it's probably close to his house. If we could find out who he is. Underground, so underground. So again, burial, but not far from the city. The city's around there. Above ground, maybe she's coming up a little bit too. Wooded area again. Definitely a wooded area. Random area. And sexual intentions. So that's all in the chart. So that's the first bit of card. Well, these are interesting. I need to look at the map after this because yeah. Now again, these can be on the way in the area. It may also relate to the case. It may also relate to him. So keep that in mind. It's not always just the area, but they might be literal, not literal. So we have music, like someplace where there's music, like a concert hall or some kind of like celebration or something like that. The supermarket, that one's interesting. There might be one in the area, but also like she was seen like on camera, like that was the whole thing when she went missing. The forest cabin, so again, someplace that's kind of a little bit remote in the woods, maybe a little bit. Because it says remote getaway, secluded retreat. The ship, I don't know if I want to take that literal or not. That could just be like he might travel a lot, or I mean, it could indicate by water where there's boats, but she doesn't have, I mean, it could be like in the distance as well. But the windswept region, so like windy area, tranquil reflection of water. So there is water in the area somewhere. Scorching lands, so can be a place where there was like fire or some kind of burnt area close by. This part's what's interesting to me. We have the birthplace of dreams and we have the hospital. Now, what's weird is the North Node, basically where she was born, her North Node hits the hospital where she was born. I find that really odd that I pulled those cards, like the North Node. And then the hospital came in like the last channeling I did. And it turns out birthplace, hospital, birthplace, her North Node goes right there. I find that really freaking weird. I mean, what the heck? Crossroads. So there may be a crossroads nearby. Lighthouse, I'm not taking this as literal, but this may be like something like it's hopeful. Park. Okay, she did go missing from a park, but there also might be a park close by. Cemetery. That came in the reading multiple times. Rest, like, again, benches or park. You have that in a park. Not that she's in directly in a park, but maybe there's one close by or around. So you have the church again. That's the second time I pulled the church card. The church came in multiple times. It might be near a church that he knows or one that he went to. Desert again. So another sandy area. Which you can also say like farmland is sandy, you know. A luxury boutique, but that's like crystals and stuff like that too. So bathroom, it can indicate water. Window, you can take that as a water too, or maybe he can see where like she is, or he goes by there or something. Like maybe it's close to his house. It says framed views, like. But I also got the portal card. Now portal can indicate like water, like see-through. Not that she's in the water, but I don't know. I don't know if that means like you can see her. I find that interesting though. Heartbreak place. So that would indicate like a cemetery is a heartbreak place. Or someplace he might have memories of. Casino could just be something that he does, like maybe he's a gambler or something. I don't know if there's anything like that around there. Amusement park. Home again. So it could be her home or his home. That came in again. And we have mountain again. So again, it could be perspective, but it could also be somewhere that's got mountains around it, or it's higher, or there's little hills. Interesting. The airport. The airport was somewhere it came in the reading as like being behind me or something. I just got a headache. So it's definitely in one of our areas. We're going to look at that again. Tavern, he could like to drink, that came in the reading, and then street, because I feel like she's off a road. So all these kind of make sense. That like really, really got to me with the birthplace. So I want to go back to that really quick. What's interesting here? She always says this is where the line ends, but look at this. So we have this church right here, right? We have a neighborhood here. If he went to this church, I wonder if he's from the neighborhood, right? I think that she's around here somewhere. We have this water right here, this river. And the park is up here where the church. See this, her. I mean, here's also a church here. There's a church here. So there's all kinds of church. Oh, look, this is a desert area right here. Like, this is sandy. The water. I don't know if there's any parks around here. And that could also mean, I guess, like a national park. I don't know. Just looking at her north node, because that's where we were thinking was significant in this case for some reason. Because it literally goes like to the hospital she was born at, which is what I pulled. And then if we go out, I wish I could just like get a headache or somewhere or something. Here's the airport. So it makes me wonder if she's not like, but I do feel sick, but I don't know if that's from just being tired from doing this. I know that Denny's also came in the reading, and that's also in the area of his stomping grounds. I don't know where a cemetery is, though, around here. I wonder if any of these churches have one. Because, I mean, we have the creek through here. I don't know if I have a creek card. Church. There's lots of freaking churches. I mean, she's definitely got to be near a church. She's definitely got to be near a church. I would say it's one he's familiar with. Sandy areas. See, right here is their church right here. I swear we've looked here before, like a million times. Like, I always go to this side and I always go up, which is interesting. And I'm probably just coughing because I still have my cough, unfortunately. I mean, probably someone that knows the area better than me. Athletic club. It's interesting. He says he's athletic. The athletic club goes right there. It's kind of a crossroads. I feel like it's going to be somewhere that he knows, or that's why it feels like this side, you know, because there's the park, right? It's interesting. All the lines go through Jetty's Pond. I'm sure that was Czech, though. Is there a... I don't see a church there. Church came in the reading so much. It feels like it's a, like, oh, there's a church right there. I mean, I don't know. She says it's usually where the lines end, but that's just, I find that interesting. I'm sure that's really searched, though, but... Maps make me so tired, you guys. I like end up falling asleep like right after I'm done. Like I feel exhausted just from, can't imagine like how I'm gonna feel when I'm doing these maps, because it's pretty exhausting, honestly. It's like you feel the energy off of it. So I don't know. We were interested in his north node, or her north node, sorry, because it's so weird that the birthplace hospital, like that came in together, like birthplace and hospital, and I saw that hospital a million times in that last reading. It's just so weird. I'm tripped out on that. I mean, I don't know how the mountains make sense though. Like, I don't know, unless like a mountain name. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways. Yep, that's it. So I have a couple people that search, so we'll see what they have to say. They have this map, so all right. I could be on this map all night. You know? So if I have any updates or there's anything else I want to share with you guys, I'll let you know. It seems like something's going to take place on this really soon, just because of like me coming back to it and her node switching and everything, like, you know, and the community isn't giving up. There's a lot of people in the community that are like hardcore like after this, and they're showing up in the chart as well. So anyways, thank you everybody for liking and subscribing and being here, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.